All right, greetings. Welcome back to Blackburn News, where everything is connected. How are y'all doing? We're live on YouTube, X, and the stream is going on Telegram. If you want to watch on Telegram, we are there too. Okay. Thanks for reposting the stream, Victory. I appreciate you. All right. It's, the news. Let's get into it. Warning about extreme humidity in the United States in the next couple of days. Extreme humidity, not just extreme temperatures, will make headlines over the next week as a heat dome develops. Humidity levels will surge across 40 states in southern Canada, bringing tropical rainforest-like conditions, especially next week. Not affecting the West too much, but if you're on the East Coast or the South or the Midwest, it looks like prepare, beware, etc. Because it ain't the heat, it's the humidity. Why is this not here? Hello. Okay, now you can see that, right? You see the map? See the map? Purple is extreme, into the green, which is moderate. Speaking of humidity, there's several flooding events around the planet right now. One of them in China, very large. Mass flooding in Nanyang of Henan Province, China. This is from today. And this is going to be happening more and more often. I saw, I don't know who posted it. Somebody posted something about the fact that this will happen more and more until it's you or it's us calling for help. Scorching in the in southern UK. Okay, how hot? Malcolm Young. It's getting warm here, pretty warm, up to 100 degrees in some places around here. Not necessarily here. I am being spared the super hot weather. So I'm like way closer to the ocean, but if you just go in a couple of miles, it's way hotter. What's that you say? 24C, but the radiation from the sun feels strong and direct. Also, something of note for all you Aurora Borealis watchers. Hello, where'd it go? We're gonna get this. Just in, large X1.2 class solar flare erupts from the sun. And we've been getting a lot of these lately. In the last few years. And I'm sure there's all kinds of theories around this. But mainly what it does is just send a lot of energy to the atmosphere. We might get some auroras. We might even get some electrical disruptions. I don't know. Some of the effects are immediate, wider area of strong degradation or signal loss of high frequency communication bands over much of the sunlit side of the Earth. Users of HF radio signals may experience loss of contact or major disruptions for a number of minutes to a couple of hours in the affected areas. Oh, by the way, I want to thank Habitat is going away. He bought me a coffee. On Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you. All right, let's go through the dreaded news. If you're watching on Telegram, if there's a way you can let me know that you're watching on Telegram, that'd be awesome, or that it's coming through. I'm assuming it's coming through. Let me know if anybody's watching on Telegram. This is interesting. And no real verification of this. Following the U.S. Defense Secretary's statement about transferring American air defense systems from Ukraine to Israel, the Russian military has destroyed U.S. air defense systems in the Ukrainian capital of Kiev. So we're taking this at face value that this is what this is. I don't know. Somebody had a theory about the Ukraine war was a distraction for Russia away from what they're planning to do in the Middle East. I don't know. I'm sure it's not great for any country to fight a two-front war. Although Russia hasn't said anything about fighting other than, where's this? Well, they've supplied Iran with a lot of weapons. They are Iran's buddies, backers. They got their back and all that kind of stuff. If I could if I sound any less hip, up to date. All right. Okay. Russia has warned the United States against direct action against Iran. Moscow issued a strong worded statement which stated that the U.S. should not even consider directly participating in Israel's war of aggression against Iran. This appears to be the first sign that Russia will come to the aid of the Iranians. This is from the Mint Press News. Fairly credible source. Although the thing about the statement that I find troubling is that they're already helping Israel. I mean, we haven't officially announced anything, but they planned this whole attack on Iran jointly. They have supplied support already. So I don't, I'd say this is already a green light, but we haven't jumped in with official U.S. troops yet. You think so, Salt Lakers? All right. Let's see. While everyone was distracted, the Senate passed the Genius Bill, paving the way for CBDCs, which people have been warning of for the last year, 2 years, maybe. The cry of warning, the flashing red light has been getting louder and stronger. Several people coming out and saying that, watch out for the Trump administration trying to push in CBDCs and get us onto a digital currency, and they're just doing that like clockwork. So the Senate passed it. I don't know if it has to go back to Congress. Let's see. The Genius Act, or the Guiding and Establishing National Innovation for U.S. Stablecoins Act, otherwise known as the Stablecoins Bill, is a significant piece of legislation aimed at regulating payment stablecoins in the United States. Introduced by Senator Bill Hagerty of Tennessee, the bill establishes a regulatory framework for payment stablecoins, which are digital assets that an issuer must redeem for a fixed value. I don't know why they need a bill. I mean, stablecoins exist already, and they're used as a method of exchange. I'm not really sure what this, anyways. The bill specifies requirements for reusing reserves, providing safekeeping services for stablecoins, supervisory examination, and enforcement authority over federal qualified issuers. Under the Genius Act, only permitted issuers may issue a payment stablecoin for use by U.S. persons, subject to certain exceptions and safe harbors. Permitted issuers must be a subsidiary of an insured depository institution, a federal qualified non-bank payment stablecoin issuer, or a state qualified payment stablecoin issuer, etc. They must maintain reserves backing the stablecoin on a one-to-one basis. Not like the Federal Reserve, right? Do we have assets backing every dollar on a one-to-one basis? Hell no. Hell no, we do not. So it's, I mean, on some levels, stable coins might even have a little less Ponzi in them than a little less Ponzi than the Federal Reserve. But seeing as they're backed by dollars, which are the Ponzi, it makes them a Ponzi too, right? Silver coins are stable coins. Ba-bang, ba-bang, ba-bang. Anyways, it passed yesterday. Let's go see what Aaron Day has to say about it. I've been bringing a little bit of commentary from Aaron Day here around the stable coins. Here we go. He retweets this. The Genius Act is creating a backdoor CBDC. And everyone cheering its passage who fought against CBDC is either turning a blind eye to the threat or they don't even perceive it at all. Let's read this quickly. The Genius Act requires all stablecoins approved under its auspices to apply KYC AML monitoring to its users at an issuer level, so no stablecoin under the Act can be lawfully approved if it does not. That means your identity and most of your financial records will be available when you KYC. Two, as soon as the user adopts it and sends it to a wallet they already control, the wallet has been linked to them, not just going forward, but retroactively as well. That means if you adopt approved stablecoins and use them on-chain, you must either avoid sending them to wallets you previously established or you unmask all you've ever done on-chain to the government. It's good to know. Three, if you don't do that, all the wealth you've built on-chain to this point can either be private or transmissible without volatility risk, not both. Once you intermingle pre-Genius wealth with post-Genius stablecoins, there's no reversing the unmasking of your ownership of it. Without using a privacy tool like Tornado Cash, so long as it remains legal to do so, you won't be able to obscure anything you do with any of it subsequently. Everyone who adopts post-Genius stables as their first ever use of blockchain technology will never have the benefit of pseudo anonymity on chain. Everything they do on chain will be forever unmasked to the government and will have no way to put that mask back on because it will be legally impossible to do so. All right. Good to know. Good to know. All right. Very, very cool. Or not. Hold on one second, y'all. Okay. Salt Lakers are going to go back to more rudimentary forms of payment. What is that? Coke bottles? Coupons? Beads? Shells? All right. Oh, with a chicken. Did they accept your chicken? I am guessing no. They could not understand the value of your chicken. They couldn't be like, oh, what? A chicken for a coffee? Heck yeah, I'll take it. All right. Let's see. What's scary known? That's one thing to look out for with the new Stablecoin Act. There's several things. All right. This is a wild bit of news footage. Representative Randy Fine. Well, let's listen to this wild exchange.
I know you were well aware of Iran's influence on
In World War II, we did not negotiate a surrender with the Nazis. We did not negotiate a surrender with the Japanese. We nuked the Japanese twice in order to get unconditional surrender. That needs to be the same here. There is something deeply, deeply wrong with this culture, and it needs to be defeated.
What?
Did you really mean to say that the U.S. should use nuclear weapons against a people because there's something wrong with their culture?
Of course not. What I was saying
You just said it.
We didn't negotiate with evil in World War II. We defeated the Germans. We defeated the Japanese using any means that were necessary. And the same needs to be done in Gaza. Nuking Gaza would be a terrible idea. The fallout would drift into Israel. It would kill the hostages. The point that I was making was,
but you're not worried about it killing,
and say,
for example, women and children in Gaza who, you know, the innocents?
I think war is a messy thing. And I think that
God.
when you defeat evil, you have to do what is
Look at
necessary
her face.
to do it.
She's like, I can't believe you're saying this.
Live next to a country that a huge percentage of the people wish to destroy it all of the time. They need to do whatever is necessary. And I don't know what those things are in order to get unconditional surrender in Gaza. And I think that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, you brought up nuking them, though. So
no, I didn't bring up.
I
did not bring up nuking them.
You literally
I
said.
Wait, unconditional surrender for what? Surrendering what to whom? I mean, they're just a bunch of people there trying to live. Like they're surrendering their land, like everything they have left. Is that what you're saying? Like there's no army there. They're not surrendering. They're just what? I mean, I feel like what you're saying by that is just saying that, well, they have to just leave and give everything, give it all up. Nobody's fighting back. It's not happening.
Talked about that's not what I said. No,
you said the same thing should be done.
At least she's interested in asking questions that make this guy look like a complete and utter piece of shit. And she's doing a good job of it. I mean, she doesn't have to really work very hard. He's doing the job himself, I suppose.
That is taking me out of context. I said, in the same way we did what was
context?
necessary.
You did not take you out of context, dude. You just said what you said.
Conditionally surrender. They need to do the same thing over there, no matter what that is. I don't know what those tools are, but it took us nuking Japan not once but twice in order to get them to unconditionally surrender. And it's estimated that saved 1 million American lives in the process. My point is, we didn't sit down and go.
But nobody's threatening the lives of Americans or Israel for that matter. No one except Iran. Now. But as far as Gazans, no. Gazans are not threatening the lives of Americans. or Israelis. Sorry, y'all.
Millions might die. Let's not get Japan to surrender. I believe the Palestinianism in Gaza is on a level of evil that we saw in Japan and we saw in Germany back in World War II. And I believe Israel needs to do what's necessary to defeat it. And I won't apologize for that.
A lot of people do not agree with that word evil for all Palestinians.
Yeah. What, on what level? I mean, he's just gaslighting, because the evil people are actually the ones that are doing the bomb, the Israelis and the US that backs them. So that's all they have left is like, no, no, you are. No, you are. Not me. No, like this, like kindergarten level argument. They're evil. They're really, really bad. They're doing the bad things. Timmy throws dirt in his friend Sarah's face and goes, "Oh, she was saying things to me mean. She was mean. So I threw dirt in her face." Sarah's like, I was just sitting there actually, trying to eat a snack. Timmy threw dirt in my face. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. But it's a little bit comic. It's scary that we have like a war escalation going on, but it's a little bit comic that Israel is getting, slapped. Somebody slap him back. They thought they were just going to slap Iran around, and it's not really happening. But the bad part about that is the escalation part. So I forgot this in the weather climate section of this show. It's pretty wild. There was a storm bad enough in Alaska to cause a ship to break away from the dock. It was the first ever recorded severe thunderstorm warning for the city of Juneau. Sorry. So that's kind of wild. Sorry to do this out of order. Israel is considered the international community's entitled Karen. Absolutely. All right. Meant to push this in the other portion of the show. Meanwhile, the U.S. is pushing propaganda out to people. The White House sent emails, seen below, to multiple influencers and Republican politicians to provide them with talking points to justify U.S. intervention in Iran. They are trying to brainwash us and rationalize war. And here's the copy. President Trump has never wavered in his stance that Iran cannot be allowed to have a nuclear weapon, a pledge that he made repeatedly, both in office and on the campaign trail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So they're trying to make sure that everybody has the talking points. Sorry about that. You are on a cruise in Juneau, creative. All right. Salt Laker says the ship is going to hit the fan. All right. And Juneau, it's bad when the ship can't stay tied to the dock. Temp is expected to top 85. Holy shnikes. In Fairbanks, Yeah, that is warm. Here's troubling news. The administration is getting rid of anybody who is possibly sane and have some common sense. That is not a requirement for your position, sir. Having a conscience and being of sane and sound mind is not only not a requirement, is a liability. The U.S. officially removes Colonel Nathan McCormick from his position at the Joint Chiefs of Staff for posts calling Israel a death cult and saying America is acting as Israel's proxy. Because these words are true and correct, and we don't want that. We don't want people saying true words, especially people that might be in positions of power. Speaking of CBDCs, stablecoins, and other crypto things, I'm doing things that kind of, sorry if I'm getting the order wrong today. I apologize. It's Wednesday, so forgive me. Just in, BlackRock buys 6,088 Bitcoin worth $638.5 million. Seven Seas says the timing is funny. Well, the idea is that they're going to pass the Stablecoin Act, that they're going to have a Bitcoin reserve, that they're going to try to remonetize the current debt of the United States, recapitalize, refinancialize, whatever you want to call it. All of the debt through, accumulation of Bitcoin and Bitcoin reserves, stable coins, etc. And with all of that, bring in a digital currency that will be, as I said in the previous post, something that can be monitored, right? Creative Experiment says they're just trading between gold and Bitcoin. In the end, gold will remain and Bitcoin will be gone. Maybe. It's, there's there's two camps of thought. And one camp says Bitcoin goes to zero, and the other camp says Bitcoin goes to $1 million. And honestly, I don't know which way it might go. I'd say the possibility for both exists. And there's so much volatility in crypto in general and Bitcoin in general. I wouldn't be, it could go to $1 million and then go to zero. You never know. But I have a little bit of Bitcoin just in case it goes to $1 million, because we. But I have such a little amount that if it goes to zero, I'd be like, oh man. Oh darn. The thing is that technology is always progressing. and the crypto market is always progressing. The crypto technology is always progressing, and the good news for the idea that innovation, the innovation side of crypto can continue is if they legalize or make crypto less of a, if they destigmatize crypto, unless they lock it all down and say like you can't trade anything that we don't approve, which maybe that's where they're going. But as long as it's available to use for people, like people are going to keep innovating how to use it and how to decentralize it, basically, is what I'm saying. All right. Well, let's see. And to keep everything just jumping back and forth between subjects, as I will do all day, from Dr. Genevieve. Eco-modernists won't tell you this. Children born now may live in a world where the U.S. can only produce half as much of its key food crops. Retweeting this, new study finds concerning impacts of global warming on food production in the U.S. and elsewhere. This provides one of the most comprehensive looks to date of the climate change food production nexus. Well, yeah, and here's a graph. Saying that the world starves at 2C. Change in yield at 2C goes below 20% for most of these crops, except for soybeans and rice. Well, here's the thing. Even if you don't believe in climate change, even if you don't believe it's getting warmer, consider the fact that we are stripping the soil of its nutrients. Don't need climate change for that. Consider the fact that we're ruining crops with GMO seeds and pesticides. We might be affecting the ability to grow food at scale in the future by poisoning our food supply. Don't need climate change for that. Well, yeah, Delene, without carbon, we wouldn't be here. But I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah, you don't need climate change to bring these things about at all. You just need poisoning and mismanagement. And we excel at poisoning and mismanagement. So don't you worry about climate change. We'll do it another way if we can help it. All right. Guys, if you like the show, if you like seeing the show coming to you for free every day, are people annoyed at my going back and forth between subjects? I apologize. I apologize. It's just that kind of day. I was trying to organize these and kind of do this by section by section, but Poppy says, dry April, wet May, and June is wreaking havoc on my garden. I'm sorry to hear that. It gets harder to grow food, basically. And the growing regions are absolutely changing. That's a fact. So, again, for the people that don't believe it's getting warmer or don't believe in climate change, just ask people that grow food or are seeing trees and plants that they're, were not in their growing regions as of 20 years ago, and now they are. Ask those people what they think about global warming. They'll probably tell you, I think it's kind of obvious, dude. But whatevs, people. All right. Oh, I was going to say, if you like watching the show, can't even get my spiel about supporting the show out in one section. If you like watching the show, if you like the show coming to you for free, Monday through Friday, and you want to keep the show going and coming to you for free from Monday through Friday, and I want to, trust me, I want to keep doing the show Monday through Friday. I enjoy it. I think you all enjoy it, but supporting the show is very important in order to keep doing that. There are lots of ways to support the show in the description box of YouTube, also a link tree on X and on Telegram. There's a bunch of different links in there: Venmo, PayPal, CashApp, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, Patreon, and Substack. Many of you support the show on a regular basis. You know who you are, and I appreciate you. Yeah, people do have to shade their plants from the sun to lean. That's why the last few years I grew everything in pots, because I had to move things in and out of the shade at a moment's notice. Okay, Glenn Greenwald. Vowing to starve a population of 2 million people by blockading food, then starving them for months, then giving the facade of aid because you admit you're forced to by international opinion, then using aid centers daily to massacre civilians seeking food is a new kind of evil. And Nathan Robinson posting this. This is one of the most sick, twisted, depraved massacres yet. Israel fired tank shells into a crowd of starving people waiting for food, killing over 50. They're not even denying it. This is the kind of evil these assholes are doing. And they're trying to couch it in terms like, unconditional surrender. I think they're just asking for food. You diabolical maniacs. This was seen in the skies over occupied Palestine. It seems as if Iran has launched a satellite killer, also known as an anti-satellite strategic weapon. I don't know if that's what this is. I've seen a few of these posts of this very, apparently large projectile. Some were calling it a ballistic missile. I don't know. But I've been watching some of the footage of the bombing over there, and it seems like, as I said the other day, Iran has capabilities that Israel was not aware of or underestimated, etc. Or maybe they knew they couldn't handle it, and they were just going for it anyways. At the with the thought that the U.S. would jump in. That's also a theory. Creative says Iran does have a space program and launched their own satellites. That does look like a true hypersonic missile that is hypersonic the entire fight. I don't know. Poppy says it's a sperm. Every sperm is sacred, as the song goes. Oh, smart farming. Oh, speaking of, thanks for reminding me, Joseph. Let me show you this video. Joseph sent me the other day. You totally reminded me there. Where is it? Farming with electric. Hold on.
1,000 hectares. It took around 30,000
We're going
liters
to
of
research. Sorry. Oh, maybe it won't. Spinning.
Someone asked why we don't use electric tractors to seed with, and here's why. I seeded 6,000 hectares. It took around 30,000 litres of diesel, aka 321,600 kilowatt hours of energy. To do that with an electric tractor, I'd need the battery from a Tesla Semi recharged 322 times. So even with a super fast industrial 350 kilowatt charger, that's 918 hours of charging, more than 3 times longer than the actual job. And someone asked about solar as well. So even with a massive 100 kilowatt system, it'd take nearly 2 years to match the diesel energy used. And to keep up with the job in real time, you'd need a solar farm bigger than 45 football fields. I love the idea of electric. Someone asked why we don't use electric tractors to seed with, and here's why.
Right, there you go. You guys got it. Not possible at this point to use the electric tractors. But I think we knew that as of yet. Maybe the technology will change. At the moment, no. That's a no for me, dog. Smart farming, as in gene modify as needed with gentle, soft robotics. Sounds lovely. You can have electric solar homes for farm workers, though. That's true. That's true. Yeah, I mean, there's some technologies that solar power is totally fine for. In the current. Get it. All right. Well, guys, that is all I have for today. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. I don't know. I was a little overwhelmed yesterday with the amount of negativity that I was covering. Maybe that's why I made it a little bit shorter today. I don't, just a little bit worn out from all of the news. I can't really keep it straight. And I don't, there's a point at which I just kind of want to turn it all off and go play guitar. So there's that. But I appreciate y'all being here. I don't know if I have anybody to thank at the moment. Give me a second. Not sure. Maybe not. Maybe not. Hold on. Come and play guitar with us. Well, maybe I'll play y'all a song in the next couple of days. I'm not really prepared at the moment, but perhaps I'll surprise you. You can also follow me on Instagram if you. I do a lot of songs. Also, my YouTube at kevinsandbloom, Instagram at kevinsandbloom. If you want to, I post songs kind of regularly, and I'll probably post a song on YouTube today, which is a cover song. So there's always that. But maybe I'll bring my guitar over in the next couple of days. Anyways, guys, thank you. Appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow at the regular time of 12 p.m. Enjoy the rest of the day. Don't get too sad. Creative says, I advise you to sell your car and get a bicycle before Iran stops oil shipments. Yeah. Joseph says, it feels like being a snowflake in the news is always summer. Let's see. Do I ever have any comments on X? I don't think so. Y'all hear Ted Cruz blithering some? You guys want to listen to the Ted Cruz and Tucker? Is that too much for your brain? Hold on. I'll play this on the way out. It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. Let's see. But also, you know, Tucker Carlson doing a really good job of making Ted Cruz look like a complete buffoon, which he doesn't need help with, of course. He absolutely does not need help looking like a maniac. Well, let's listen to this.
How many people live in Iran, by the way?
I don't know the population.
At all?
No, I don't know the population. Okay. Yeah.
How could you not know that?
I don't sit around memorizing population tables.
Well, it's kind of relevant because you're calling for the overthrow of the government.
Why is it relevant whether it's,
because
it's 90 million or 80 million or 100 million? Why is that
relevant? Because if you don't know anything about the country...
I didn't say I don't know anything about
Okay, what's the ethnic mix of Iran?
They are Persians and predominantly Shia. Okay, this is cute.
It's not even... You don't know anything about Iran. So
okay, I am not the Tucker Carlson expert on Iran.
You're a senator who's calling for the overthrow of the government.
You're the one who claims
anything about the country.
No, you don't know anything about the country. You're the one who claims they're not trying to murder Donald Trump. You're the
I'm
one
not saying that.
who can't figure out if it was a good idea to kill General Soleimani, and you said it was bad.
They're trying to murder Trump.
Yes, I do.
Because you're not calling for military strikes against them in retaliation. And if you really believe that,
we're carrying out military strikes today.
You said Israel was.
Right, with our help. I said we. Israel is leading them, but we're supporting them.
Well, you're breaking news here because the U.S. government last night denied, the National Security Council spokesman Alex Pfeiffer denied on behalf of Trump that we were acting on Israel's behalf in any offensive capacity.
No, we're not bombing them. Israel's bombing them.
You just said we were.
We are supporting Israel.
High stakes. You're a senator. If you're saying the United States government is at war with Iran right now, people are listening.
Okay.
You know, and I appreciate Tucker Carlson turning he has a particular way of like, I don't know, turning the gaslighting around on people. Cause he is a master gaslighter. Like he's high level Tucker Carlson, but it's really amazing to watch him push that skill out onto Ted Cruz. Yeah, he understands how to make people look really stupid really quickly, and like that was great. Anyways, guys, you don't understand. They're trying to kill President Trump, right? Okay. All right, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you tomorrow at the regular time. And until next time, peace out.